My name is Julie Benitez, and we are in Southern California, and this is at my school, Monte Vista High School in Spring Valley. Because we're in Southern California, that means that we are an outside school, which means all of the doors go directly outside. This is my logo that a student made up, and when I was trying to rebrand my theater, we decided to make sure that our logo was on the wall. So here we are inside. This was not meant to be a theater. This was a lecture hall, a science lecture hall, because once when this school was first made, it was half community college, half high school, because there weren't enough students to go to school here. It's got a stage, but I added on to that stage, and when we go on stage, I'll have you look above. I do have seats, which is good, versus having to put out my seats every day. And this is the booth that I ended up creating. And when I first came, they just had a table, and they were just trying to be quiet with the audience. I just made an entire booth so I could have a locking door on it and a sliding glass window. And it just helped to build in a little more space for me, some storage. I had to do things like drill into the wall so the doorknob could go in. One funny story, I once had someone from the district who was here inspecting something, and he insisted that obviously someone from the district had built this because they were smart enough to make sure that this was a curved off edge so the door could open. I was being a little mansplained, and I'm like, oh, yes, the district must have done this. You are correct. Because I apparently can't think that through. I used to have these big pictures. Every time I did a show, I had a picture for each show. But I've been teaching, this is my 24th year, and I ran out of space on the walls. So what I now have is I have some iconic photos from each show on the wall. The thing, because I'm a little OCD, I tried to make sure none of it was in a pattern so that I could easily continually add pieces. Each show I can add another photo to it, one side or the other. And because I had really missed having the pictures on the wall because the kids like to look at it and go, where was this? And I'm like, that was here. They're like, in here? Yeah. Well, that doesn't look anything like it. Yes, that's a set. We build them, we take them down. So it's good for them to look at the sets. One thing I started doing this last year was to try to get the phones out of the children's hands, was to provide a little charging station, which I could plug in. I had to attach it to a dollar store basket because the children kept taking the cords. During performances, I make the kids put their phones, or during rehearsal also, put their phones in a phone corral so that they are not in their hands and I don't have anything show up on TikTok. As I said, this was not meant to be a theater, and my stage, as it was, this is concrete, and I added onto my stage. You can hear that that is wood versus the cement, but it almost doubled the front of my stage. Currently, this is the set for Drowsy Chaperone. Please be aware that this is not a clean space. This is a moment in time as we left all on March 13th, which is ironic because I was thinking I was going to come back. So I was trying to get the kids, my tech kids, like, help me get these cupboards up, because I can't do that by myself, but I can paint it by myself. So we worked on having that refrigerator we could come into, everything was getting ready to be painted, but that all got put on hold. If you come and look, I told you this was not a theater space, I've got 9-foot ceilings. In the front of the proscenium, it goes to 12 foot, which I'll take that 12 foot, and I certainly do use it. But this is not an ideal theater space, but I make it work. There are certainly times I wish that I had a fly space. Because my floor is cement back here, I can't screw anything into the ground here. I can at the front. So I frequently take my Hollywood flats, which are not really Hollywood flats because it's made out of 2x4. Really, this is like a platform with Luan on it. And I run 2x4s to the back wall to make it sturdy, which works pretty well. So this is my building space. As I said, not a theater. I feel actually pretty lucky about the amount of space that I'm able to have back here. As classes got redecorated, I started snagging every table that they possibly could have. I have, your regular classroom tables. I've got some science tables. We made some tables. So this is our outside workspace, which does mean that we've got a lot of fresh air. We've got the ability to paint out here. I had electrical put in on the wall so that we could plug in more things at once. We build on these tables, we build on the floor. I think it's a pretty versatile space. One of the things about having outdoor space or having space in general is trying to find where can I put more things. Towards the end of the year is when we would normally be like repairing everything. But trying to find what can I use with whatever space. This sea container has a roof on it, so I've got about 16 inches in which I can hide things. So I have like pieces of scrap wood out here, or that I have created an entire thing for my scrap pieces of 3/4 ply or half ply, and I just kind of have tarps on it. It's not perfect, but it's better than it just being left out in the elements. And it allows me to save some more wood in a space-saving way. This is my green room and dressing room. This green room was a classroom. This was converted into dressing rooms before I got here 24 years ago. I've made some improvements to it. Mostly kept just rearranging stuff. My seniors, after you've been here for however long, you get to do something on the wall. That's my hope is that if they do it there, they don't do it somewhere else. These big cabinets were here before I came. We adjusted them to have the paint in it. There's a lot of paint in here. And in the paint area, I've got it labeled. I can see that they're not always where they're supposed to be because pink does not go in warm. That the cool colors are supposed to go here. The warm colors, which it's written in warm. Neutral colors. And then this is one thing that I am perhaps most proud of, although the students don't always get it right. Current show paint only. Simple, it's easy, but I'm hoping that if you had to open this to get the paint out, you remember that it was a current show paint. This is the paint for obviously the show we're doing right now, and on each one of them I label, this was Drowsy, this is Janet's room, so that I can tell the kid, go to current show paint, get me Janet Drowsy, and they'll be able to find it. And then it's supposed to go back into current show paint so that it doesn't get put up somewhere else that I can't find it. So this is my tool room. It's not exactly cleaned right this second because we kind of dropped everything and went. Part of a converted classroom, trying to create as much space as possible. Obviously having shelving where I could have shelving. I tried to label everything so the goggles go where it says goggles to try to get the kids to put things back. I do usually try to have a student who's in charge of the tool room for each of my tech classes, to try to make sure that that's how things are coming in and out. I use a lot of corded drills. And so, yeah, we made little funky things of like, how many drills do we have? That many. I can see, like, for example, one drill is out, and I think it's actually on top of the refrigerator in the other room. Because we were trying to get that thing up really fast. But just trying to have everything labeled. I have kids have screws in boxes. When I've got a kid who I don't know what to do with them, sometimes I'll have them make us more boxes so that the kids aren't taking these big things out, or they're not taking a handful of screws. They can take a box out, the screws. My space has a lot of sea containers in it. This sea container already was a costume container. I had a student who was really, really motivated one time, and he said, I really want to change the way that the racks are in here. So what we did, because it was a sea container, was we created 4x8 kind of things that went in, and the 2x4, we like smacked those in, and there's a 2x4 that goes behind this metal thing, and that's what's holding all of these racks on the wall. Has space up at the top to have containers for like bow ties or spats or belts or whatever. Big rack that we made to have a variety of different things that get pulled in and out, like flowy shiny fabric or blankets. This rack is usually used for this needs to be put away, or this is the current show. A smaller rack does the same thing. So this is what we call the Star Shed. It's the wood shed. It's called the Star Shed because the brand of the previous one was Star, and that's what it was called before I got here. This is where I have unused wood and some storage of furniture, storage of flats and platforms, doors, stuff like that. Again, it's a big mess because we just kind of walked away from it all. So what I have over here is I've got two sea containers, one that is full of props, one that is full of furniture. Now the sea containers have entrances on the edge. I asked for the furniture trailer to have, I had asked them to cut in, give me a roll-up door so that we didn't have to dig all the way back to get something, but I could get to either side, because of course that's filled with stuff that, again, it's not cleaned. It's the end of the year where we clean, but a variety of furniture or bits of platforms or whatever in storage. The other side of the sea container is filled with props. And if you come on in, you can see right now it's still in the middle of a bunch of stuff, but I do have a lot of prop storage, which is very, very nice. I had a student recently go through and label where everything is and made a document. So if you're looking for games and toys, it's in T9, and it had pictures of everything that's in games and toys. I also have a bunch of set pieces that I might end up reusing, or often reuse, like windows. Also, because it's a sea container, I can't get real electricity, or at least the school wasn't going to let me have real electricity. So these are just shop lights that I ran with cords that are only turned on when we need to get in here. And I have a really long extension cord to run it to the wall. Taking an unconventional space and making it yours, or finding what are considered limitations and making it something to your advantage. For example, all of my doors are 32 inches wide, so that means that whenever I come up with sets that have to come in and out, I've learned to be innovative, how to break things apart, how to make it come back together. Don't let it be a limitation. Let it be a challenge for you to improve. If you'd like to talk about anything or find out information about how you can improve your site, go ahead and shoot us an email at teachtechtheater@gmail.com or visit our website at www.teachtechtheater.org. See you next time.